In the eyes of many, being different is the same as being dangerous. While alpha males might be seen as aggressive and beta males as pushovers, sigma males get painted with an even darker brush. They're often viewed as villains, not because they cause harm or seek conflict, but because people don't understand them. Their very existence challenges the status quo and forces people to confront uncomfortable truths. Here are 7 reasons why society so often casts these lone wolves as the bad guys. Number 1. They don't sugarcoat the truth, which can feel brutal. Most people like their truth served gently. A little softness here, a little encouragement there. It makes hard things easier to hear. But not everyone delivers the message that way. Some people believe in giving it straight, no fluff, no filter. Sigma males fall into this category, and their honesty can hit like a hammer. When they speak, they don't bother dressing up their words or adding unnecessary details. They see no point in sugarcoating things because the truth is what matters most. If someone's slacking, they'll say it. If an idea doesn't make sense, they'll point it out. This bluntness can leave people feeling exposed or even attacked, especially if they're not used to such direct communication. The problem isn't that sigma males are trying to hurt anyone. They're not. They just don't believe in wasting time or beating around the bush. They value clarity and honesty, even if it stings a little. But to others, this straightforwardness can come off as cold or even cruel. In a world where people often tiptoe around feelings, someone who lays everything bare can seem like a villain. And then there's the way they deliver these truths. Calm, collected, and with zero hesitation. It's not dramatic or emotional, it's just factual. That lack of sugar makes it easy for people to think they're insensitive or even calculating, like they're intentionally trying to cut deep. But honesty pays off in the long run, even if it's a bit awkward in the moment. Unfortunately, not everyone sees it that way. To those on the receiving end of their blunt truths, it can feel like they're dealing with someone harsh, heartless, or worse, a villain in disguise. Number 2. They don't follow the crowd, which can make them easy targets. Most people naturally go along with what everyone else is doing. It's familiar and keeps life simple, but not everyone fits into this mold. Some people walk their own path without worrying about who's watching or judging. These are the ones who stand out, and standing out often makes you a target. When someone doesn't follow the crowd, it can leave others feeling uneasy. They're not playing by the same unspoken rules everyone else seems to follow. For sigma males, this isn't about being rebellious. It's about staying true to their own values and instincts. But when someone isn't moving with the group, they're easy to point at. People start to think they're intentionally trying to disrupt the flow or that they're hiding something. The real problem is that being different often leads to assumptions. Someone who doesn't join the group can look like they're against it, even when they're not. Sigma males might simply prefer to skip trends or avoid social cliques, but this independence gets twisted. People begin to see them as unfriendly or even dangerous, as if choosing to walk alone means they must have something to hide. Without saying a word, their actions challenge the idea that everyone has to fit in. That silent defiance, even if it's unintentional, can be enough to make others uncomfortable. Instead of understanding that they're just independent thinkers, people often label them as troublemakers. It's easier to blame someone who doesn't follow along than to understand why they don't need to. And that's how sigma males, who simply prefer to live life their way, end up being seen as villains when all they're doing is minding their own business. Number 3. They are hard to read, so people assume the worst. People tend to feel comfortable when they can figure someone out. Most of us rely on body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice to guess what someone is thinking or feeling. But sigma males keep things close to the chest. Their poker face doesn't crack, and they rarely offer clues about what's going on in their minds. For some, this mystery is intriguing, but for others, it's downright unnerving. When you can't read someone, your brain fills in the blanks, And unfortunately, it often fills them with the worst-case scenarios. That coworker who sits quietly during a meeting. People might think he's silently judging everyone. The neighbor who keeps to himself. Suddenly, he's probably hiding something. It's not that Sigma males are trying to be secretive. They just value their privacy and don't feel the need to share every thought or emotion. They prefer to observe and think things through before speaking, which can come across as suspicious. Media and pop culture often make this misunderstanding even worse. How often have you seen the quiet, mysterious character in movies turn out to be the bad guy? People project these fictional stereotypes onto real life. When someone doesn't wear their intentions on their sleeve, it's easier to believe they have something to hide. The irony is that Sigma males aren't hiding anything sinister. They're simply thoughtful, independent, and not interested in putting on a show. But to those who don't understand them, their quiet nature can seem like a mask. And in a world that fears the unknown, that's enough to make them look like villains. Number 4. They rarely show their emotions, which makes them seem cold. People are used to obvious emotional displays. The angry boss yelling, the excited coworker bouncing off walls, the sad friend seeking comfort. These clear emotional signals make others feel comfortable because they know exactly what they're dealing with. But Sigma males don't operate like this. They process their emotions internally, maintaining a calm exterior regardless of what's happening inside. This emotional self-control often makes others uneasy. In a world where everyone's expected to wear their hearts on their sleeves, someone who stays composed through both crisis and celebration seems almost inhuman. When a Sigma male responds to good news with a quiet nod instead of celebration, people call him ungrateful. When he handles bad news with calm consideration rather than visible distress, they label him unfeeling. His measured response to conflict gets interpreted as cold calculation rather than emotional maturity. This tendency to internalize rather than display emotions really unnerves those who rely on emotional manipulation. They can't read him, can't tell if their attempts to provoke a response are working. It's like trying to play chess when you can't see your opponent's pieces. Society has been conditioned to expect certain emotional performances. You're supposed to laugh at the boss's jokes, show excitement when compliments are given, and smile when someone takes a picture. While these expectations often feel fake and forced, they've become the norm. When someone doesn't play along, it makes others uncomfortable. They don't know how to relate or judge this person. This discomfort often leads to labeling Sigma males as cold, distant, or unfeeling. But the truth is, these men aren't emotionless. They just process and express their feelings differently. But in a world where keeping your emotions in check is often seen as a bad thing, their calmness is easily mistaken for being cold. It's easier to call them villains than to try and understand them. Number 5. They love control, and that can scare people. Sigma males are all about control, not over others, but over their own lives. They want to decide how they spend their time, what they work on, and how they live. This strong desire for independence and self-determination can make them seem stubborn or overly intense to those who don't understand their mindset. Most people are used to following routines, working within hierarchies, or letting someone else take the lead. When someone like a Sigma steps outside those norms, it can feel disruptive. Their need to do things their own way can come across as defiance or rebellion, which makes others question their motives. Some might even see it as a sign that they're trying to outsmart or undermine the group. What throws people off is how calm and controlled they are while doing this. They don't demand attention or try to prove themselves. They quietly go about their business with an air of self-assurance. This confidence can feel intimidating, almost as if they're hiding something. It's easy for people to imagine there's more going on beneath the surface, and not everyone assumes it's something good. The truth is, Sigma males aren't looking to control anyone else. They just want the freedom to make their own choices. Their independence, while harmless, can make them seem like outsiders, or even like they're playing a game no one else understands. This combination of mystery and self-reliance often makes people feel uneasy, leaving them to make up their own story about the Sigma male being a villain. Number 6. They prefer working alone, making them seem detached. There's something about someone who prefers to work alone that can feel mysterious. Sigma males aren't the ones brainstorming loudly in a group or rallying the team. Instead, they're quietly in the corner, solving problems their own way. Working solo isn't about ignoring others. It's about staying sharp and focused. But to the outside world, this independence can seem suspicious. While everyone else is high-fiving and throwing ideas around, the Sigma male is already a few steps ahead, calmly getting things done on his own. This makes him look like he's disconnected, like he doesn't care about the group. Others might think he's up to something. Why else would he avoid the team? In stories and movies, the lone wolf is often the character you're told to watch out for. He's the one working in the shadows, making his own rules. This same vibe follows Sigma males in real life. Their quiet independence gets misread as scheming or selfish, even though their goal is simply to get the job done efficiently. What people don't see is that Sigma males aren't against teamwork. They just don't see the need for it unless it's absolutely necessary. They're not plotting or hiding anything sinister. They're focused, clear-headed, and thrive on autonomy. But in a world that expects everyone to stay with the pack, choosing to stand alone can make them seem like the odd one out. Their independence feels like a threat, something they can't fully understand. And what people don't understand, they often fear. That's why the Sigma male, quietly doing his own thing, is so easily cast as a villain when all he's really doing is sticking to what works best for him. Number 7. Their confidence can feel intimidating or superior. Confidence is usually admired, but when it's quiet and understated, it can sometimes be misunderstood. Unlike alpha males who put their confidence on full display, Sigma males carry themselves with a calm, unshakable assurance that doesn't beg for attention. And for some people, that kind of self-possession feels threatening, almost like they're hiding something sinister. Why? Because we're conditioned to associate confidence with charisma and charm, qualities that are out in the open. When someone doesn't play into this expectation, people start to wonder. They ask themselves, what's his deal? What's he trying to hide? This quiet strength can come across as aloof or superior, even when it's not. In movies, the calm, confident character who stays in the background often turns out to be the mastermind or the villain. This cultural association feeds into how society sees Sigma males. Their independence and quiet demeanor make it easy to assume they have a hidden agenda. After all, why else would someone choose to stand apart? Sigma males don't try to dominate a room, but they also don't submit to its social rules if they don't agree with them. This makes them unpredictable, and people tend to fear what they don't understand. Their quiet confidence can feel like a challenge or a threat, leading others to label them as calculating or even dangerous. In reality, Sigma males aren't trying to intimidate or outshine anyone, but their refusal to conform to typical social cues can make others uncomfortable, and that discomfort often leads to suspicion. It's easier for people to call them villains than to admit that their quiet confidence scares them.